What's up, SnEaKyNation? SnEaKy P here, back with all the news after week number 3 and year number 2 of our San Francisco 49ers franchise, where the 49ers had a blowout loss to the Cardinals. Let's take a look at some highlights. On the right side, a bad throw by Kaepernick would lead to this Byron Maxwell interception, and then Carson Palmer will find the rookie Trace Ash in the end zone. The Cardinals would take an early 7-0 lead. They would get the ball back as well. Palmer looking down the field on 3rd and 4, and Floyd is wide open down to the 41-yard line of San Francisco territory. Then on 1st and 10, play action, looking for the back of the end zone. Jimmy Ward tips it in the air, and Chantrell Wilkerson will come down with it, his 3rd interception in 3 games of his NFL career. Definitely off to a very good start there, but it was not enough today. The Cardinals would get the ball back, and here is Brown on the play, beating Wilkerson that time down to the 28-yard line. Then on 1st and 10, Gresham with a nice little juke the old guy, getting it done down to the 8-yard line. They would eventually settle for a field goal and take a 10-0 lead over the 49ers. 49ers trying to get back into the game, and this is Chris Owusu, a 46-yard touchdown, and the 49ers are back in it. 10-7 would be the score, but after this one, it is all Arizona. Palmer looking down the field this time. Once again, Gresham open on the play, beating Bowman down the field, and he would have it at the 44-yard line. Then on 3rd and 15, Palmer once again going to find Ash. 3rd downs were a key in this game, and the 49ers defense just could not make those plays. 3rd down again, Floyd making the catch this time, and that would lead to this Arizona Cardinals touchdown run by David Johnson. He had a monster game, over 150 yards on the ground. 2nd down and 11 for the 49ers down the right side, and if you remember this name, it's because he got an interception earlier. He will add another to his total. Byron Maxwell, his 2nd of the day, his 3rd of the season. The Cardinals would have a chance to get more points on the board before halftime, but it would not work out. However, early on in the 3rd, Trace Ash once again down to the 20-yard line of San Francisco territory. Then Carson Palmer over the middle will find Brown into the end zone. 24-7 would be the score here. 49ers offense not doing a lot today. They had a lot of 3 and outs, but here they are on 2nd down and 10, and Aaron Lissamore with the catch going down the field. However, it's tipped out of his hands. It would go out of bounds. The 49ers would keep the ball. Unfortunately for them, they ended up settling for a field goal anyway. The rookie Joel Edison would knock this through the uprights, and the score would be 24-10 here with about 8 minutes to go in the 3rd. Then later on in the 3rd, Cardinals back with the ball, and David Johnson doing what David Johnson does, and that is breaking some tackles and picking up some 1st downs. The rookie Presley for the Cardinals, though, getting a nice run in of his own here, and the Cardinals are once again on the move. 1st and 10, Palmer looking for the end zone, finds David Johnson, getting it done in the receiving game as well, and the Cardinals would go on top by 21 here as things started to spiral downhill for the 49ers. This time, though, Willie Snead unable to get the 1st down, and that would be a turnover on downs for the 49ers. And the Cardinals would capitalize. David Johnson, a 24-yard touchdown run here, and the Cardinals on top by 28 points over the 49ers. The Cardinals started off really poorly last year, looking to pick things up here. Dimitri Todman with a 1st down catch on a 4th and 6 play. Nice to see that. Then on 3rd and 7, Dimitri Todman on a screen play into the end zone, touchdown for the Niners. They got it back to a 21-point game, but the Cardinals were not done. Instead of running down the clock, they were trying to score more points, and Jermaine Gresham would deliver with another Arizona Cardinals touchdown, and this was just a blowout from start to finish. The 49ers were outclassed the entire time. Nice catch by Willie Snead here, but the 49ers really not getting anything out of it, as this is going to be intercepted by the rookie Darius Chekwa here. 45-17 would be the final score, and the Arizona Cardinals, after going 5-11 last year, have started off the season 3-0, and now the 49ers are getting ready for another team that struggled last season, but this season have been getting it done. The Philadelphia Eagles are 3-0 as well, and the 49ers head to practice to get ready for them. Not an easy schedule to start off for the 49ers here, and they are being tested early on the right side. Chris Owusu with the catch this time. Kaepernick looking to throw. Aaron Lissamore going to get the reception here on the 3rd play action on the left side. This is going to be Lissamore again. 49ers offense looking good, but then again, they did last week in practice, and that didn't help out a whole lot, as Lissamore had another going. 49ers need a reception and a first down for the gold. They do not get it there. Kaepernick hit as he threw the ball. 49ers will have to settle for a silver on offense this time around. And that is going to be it. We don't have the defense there, so let's answer some press questions. Red Canyon Gaming, is Kaepernick your future quarterback, or are you looking around? Well, I don't want to say anybody's our future quarterback when we haven't been playing too well right now. We're definitely going to be looking in the draft. We'll just kind of have to see what happens. Kaepernick's our guy right now, and we'll just move forward with him and proceed accordingly. And then Jalen Young is going to ask, how bad would Kaepernick have to play to lose the job to Mike Glennon? And obviously, we're not really happy with what we've gotten from Kaepernick in 2 of the 3 games. In the second game where we got the win against the Jags, he did look very good for us, though. But I think one thing that we do have to remember right now is the 49ers have been playing some very good teams early on, and we have another tough game coming up against the Eagles. These are games that we were anticipating losing. We're kind of outmatched in a lot of the games. You know, the other teams have more talent. We still have to take this as a slow rebuild. It's not going to be something that we're going to be one of the best teams overnight. We feel very comfortable with a lot of moves that we made this offseason, but I do think it's going to take some time to materialize. And until that happens, we might see Kaepernick struggle. That said, Glennon is a guy we have a lot of faith in too, so if Kaepernick's not getting the job done and we feel like Glennon has a better chance to win us some games, we will definitely throw Glennon in. But for the time, Kaepernick is still our guy. That's going to be it for the press questions. Let's go ahead and check out the scores from around the NFL. The Seahawks will get the victory 37-34 over the Falcons, so the Seahawks get their first win of the season. The Falcons, on the other hand, fall to 1-2. The Falcons represented the NFC in the Super Bowl last year, not off to the start that they wanted. The Seahawks ended up 9-7 last year. The Falcons 10-6, but starting off 1-2 is not where they wanted to be. They do have a rookie out of Ohio State, Tremont Eubanks, 7 catches, 123 yards, and a touchdown for him. Definitely a guy worth keeping an eye on. And then, of course, Vance McDonald signed in the offseason. He had 4 catches for the Falcons there. Defensively, Bobby Wagner would lead the way with 12 tackles, sacks, 1 by Averill, 1 by Bennett. Interceptions, none on the day. Fumbles forced and fumbles recovered, nothing happening there. 31-28, the Redskins with the victory over the Chargers. So the Redskins moved to 2-1 after finishing 7-9. Denton Ritchie actually throwing a pass that went for 19 yards, but the majority of the time was spent by Cousins, who once again had another outstanding game for the Redskins here. The Chargers fall to 1-2, which is as many losses as they had all of last season. They ended last year with the best record in the NFL, and it is not happening for the Chargers early on in this season. It'll be interesting to see if they can turn it around, make the playoffs, make a run, or if maybe, they got deflated after losing in the first round, or the first game for them in the divisional round, I should say. Baker with 2 sacks on the day. Dunbar and Norman with the interceptions of Phillip Rivers there. Fumbles forced. We're going to have Dunbar and Norman each forcing and recovering a fumble as well. 28-17, the Bucs will take down the Dolphins. The Bucs starting the season off 3-0 now. Whereas the Dolphins are 1-2. The Bucs went 7-9 last year. The Dolphins 4-12. So only 7 wins all of last season, but the Bucs are looking good early on, and they are certainly in a very competitive division, especially with the Falcons struggling early on in this season, already at 1-2. It'll be interesting to see how the rest of this division plays out, but definitely worth keeping an eye on as well. Goldson had 11 tackles and 2 sacks on the day. Ndamukong Suh would have a sack or 2 sacks as well. Interceptions, Alonzo Adai and Sean Patton, the Heisman Trophy winner out of Georgia, first round selection, getting an interception here in week number 3 for the Buccaneers defense. Ndamukong Suh and DeMarco Pema, the number 2 overall pick, would each force a fumble and recover it. 36-22, the Bengals with the victory over the Jacksonville Jags here. Bengals improved to 1-2, so the defending Super Bowl champs get their first win of the season. The Jags, on the other hand, fall to 0-3 on the year after going 9-7 last season. Not where they would like to be at all. They've got a lot of playmakers on offense, but their defense continues to let them down. And there's Kadarius Folston again, 5 catches, 77 yards for him. He is having a great start to his rookie season. And that is just another weapon, as you see Darrell Cleveland there as well, who had a touchdown against us. Dante Fowler Jr. with 2 sacks. Nada would have a sack for the Bengals there. Perfect with the 1 interception on the day. Fumbles forced. We have 1 by Dunlap, Smith, and Atkins. They would all be recovered as well. 24-14. The Bills with the victory over the Chiefs. The Bills improved to 2-1. The Chiefs falling to 0-3, and that injury to Alex Smith is certainly haunting them at this point. The Bills went 10-6 last year. The Chiefs went 9-7, so starting off 0-3 is not ideal. But again, having Kevin Hogan really put them at a difficult spot with the injury to Alex Smith, and that could sink a season if you lose your starting quarterback, and that might be what we are seeing here. Acker would have 10 tackles, as would Parker. Darius and Washington each with a sack. Orrin Howard would split 1. Interceptions, none on the day for either team there. Fumbles forced. We're going to have Darius force 1, Parker, and Bynes. Bynes would recover his. 27-23. The Eagles with the victory over the Dallas Cowboys. The Eagles improved to 3-0 on the year despite going 4-12 last season. Definitely made some good moves in the offseason. You're seeing Carson Wentz play a lot better, and it's showing. It's showing early on for the Eagles here. The Cowboys falling to 1-2 after going 10-6 last year. Of course, their one win being an overtime victory against the San Francisco 49ers. So maybe the Cowboys are not as good as we have been thinking, and the Eagles might be ready to take over that division by the looks of things right now anyway. You see their defense making some plays, getting some sacks as well. Interceptions, you're going to have 1 by Ron Brooks, returned for 30 yards though. Fumbles forced and fumbles recovered, 1 by Carr, 1 by Graham, neither recovered though. 20-14, the Vikings with a victory over the Bears. The Vikings improved to 2-1 on the year. The Bears fall to 1-2. Vikings 11-5 last year. The Bears at 3-13. And as you see, Cutler 260 some odd yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions on the day. We'll have to keep an eye on that too, because they do still have Whittington behind him, a quarterback with superstar development. So it'll be interesting to see how this season plays out for them. Brian Quick going to be on the Chicago Bears now. He had 2 catches there. And then McCauley, a rookie, will lead the way with 12 tackles. He also got a half a sack as well. No interceptions on the day here. Fumbles forced and fumbles recovered. Will Hill and Anthony Barr would force it. It would not be recovered. 26-16. The Panthers with the victory over the New York Giants. So the Panthers improved to 1-1-1. Gradkowski throwing 2 touchdowns on 2 attempts there. Cam Newton, no touchdowns, and he had an interception. I don't know how that happened. And then the Giants fall to 1-2. Panthers 9-7 last year. The Giants 9-6-1. But the Giants falling to 1-2, as well as the Cowboys at 1-2. We saw the Eagles start off 3-0, so definitely on the right track so far. The Redskins are at 2-1 right behind them though, so still in play there. Defensively, Hankins 9 tackles, 4 for a loss there, 3 sacks by Ely on the day. Star Latulele would have a sack as well. Lofton with an interception there. Fumbles forced. We are going to have 1 by Latulele and 1 by Johnson. Neither recovered. 21-3, the Titans with the victory over the Ravens here. Marcus Mariota, 186 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and a terrible game by Joe Flacco. The Titans improved to 2-1. The Ravens fall to 1-2. The Titans 7-9 last year. The Ravens 3-13 last year. And again, we talked about how bad the Ravens started off last season, mostly Joe Flacco. Towards the end of the year, Joe Flacco started to play better, but he is putting their team in a hole early on, and it looks to be the same case this year. I don't know what the Ravens are doing with Flacco right now, but there's Javaris Forbes, an early first-round selection, forcing a fumble and recovering it. We have another tie, 17-17. The Browns and the Raiders will tie. The Browns at 1-1-1 now, as Houston Church, another great game, 347 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did throw an interception this time, but still a good showing for him. The Raiders go to 2-0-1. Browns at 9-6-1 last year. The Raiders at 7-9. So the Raiders off to a good start. They would have liked to get the victory against the Browns here today, but overall still sitting at 2-0-1. The Raiders got to be pretty happy with their performance so far this season. Davis would lead the way with 15 tackles, 3 sacks by Greg Hardy on the day, a half a sack for Khalil Mack there. Interceptions, 1 by Aldon Smith, And then, of course, fumbles forced, and Greg Hardy would force and recover. Shelton and Kindred would each force and recover as well. 42-31 in a shootout here. The Saints would get the victory over the Packers. The Saints at 2-0-1, and the Packers falling to 1-2 early on in the season. The Saints went 8-8 last year, and the Packers went 10-6. So falling to 1-2, not an ideal spot, but this was a tough game. Michael Thomas, 7 catches, 146 yards, and 2 touchdowns for the second-year pro now. Definitely looking like a very good pickup early on in his career. Defensively, Martinez would lead the way in tackles here. Sacks, we are going to have one by Perry, one by Robertson. Interceptions, one by Matthews, one by Kenny Vaccaro. And then fumbles forced and fumbles recovered. Nothing happening there. 40-14. The Rams with a blowout victory over the Colts, who continue to struggle. And again, Andrew Luck still being out with injury for the second year now. Scott Tolzien filled in admirably last year. Clausen does not seem to be doing the same. The Browns improved to 2-1 on the year. The Colts fall to 0-3, and these losses have not been pretty at all. The Rams 8-8 last year. The Colts 8-8 last year. There is Torrey Smith with his new team, 6 catches, 65 yards. He has been doing fairly well for their offense, but it's just not enough to get things done. Jackson would lead the way in tackles. William Hayes with 2 sacks on the day. Interceptions, we are going to have one by Jarrett, one by Marcos Yancey, a rookie out of Notre Dame, 6'1" cornerback, making a play there for the defense. And then Bartu would force and recover a fumble. 41-24, the Steelers with the victory over the Lions. And the Steelers have been phenomenal to start the season at 3-0. They went 9-7 last year. The Lions currently at 1-2, despite going 12-4 last year. I find it really interesting to see how teams have changed in the offseason. I apologize if you guys don't like hearing this, but I like knowing what the teams are doing differently now. And the Steelers have been killing it early on, and Antonio Brown being a big reason why. They also drafted 2 wide receivers, as did the Lions with Earl Anthony there. I said 2, but 1. But Parker Fenner, not a great game. He did get 70 yards and a touchdown on only 2 catches there. But we are going to have to follow them further. Whitehead would lead the way in tackles. 3 sacks by Ezekiel Anza. Acho would have one as well. Levy with the interception on the day. Fumbles forced. 1 by Miles, Cyprian, and Dupree. None would be recovered. 28-26. The Patriots will get their first win of the season to improve to 1-2 after going 10-6 last year. The Jets falling to 1-2. And there's James Vallejo. 175 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions on the day. Case Keenum throwing for a lot of yards, but he also threw for a lot of interceptions as well. The Jets went 8-8 last year. I'm not sure if I said that. 2 touchdowns for Danny Amendola here. And that will be that. Duncan Smiley getting a catch there as well. Another player that we scouted. Butler would lead the way in tackles. Wilkerson and Ninkovich would get the sacks on the day. Revis with 2 interceptions. Hightower, Logan, and Ryan and Aloka would have the interceptions. Fumbles forced and fumbles recovered. We are going to have a fumble forced by Muhammad Wilkerson. It would not be recovered. 30-24. The Broncos with the victory over the Texans. The Broncos improved to 2-1 on the year. And look at Zach Lindsey go. 294 yards for the rookie out of Nebraska. 3 touchdowns, no interceptions on the day. Osweiler, on the other hand, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. The Texans fall to 2-1 on the year. Both teams at 5-11 last year. Both teams starting off 2-1 this year. But the Broncos are certainly the team to look at, because right now I would say Zach Lindsey has been the most impressive rookie on offense. And he's got a great defense to work with here. He's got a lot of playmakers to work with. And this could be a team that goes deep in the playoffs with a rookie quarterback if Lindsey continues to improve. It's certainly something worth keeping an eye on, if nothing else. But he is definitely off to the right start in his career. Players of the week, David Johnson against the 49ers. 30 carries, 175 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns and a receiving touchdown. Goldson, 11 tackles, 2 sacks. Greg Hardy, 9 tackles, 3 sacks, fumble forced and fumbled recovered. And then Le'Veon Bell, 13 carries, 164 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns for him. So I guess we held Johnson in check a little more than the team held Le'Veon Bell in check. Air Force right outside linebacker Tank Goff can't end his series of lackluster performances, and draft experts take notice. Might be falling down the draft a little bit. Here's a wide receiver, Joey Wharton out of Stanford, 6'5", great catching skills, projected to go early on in the first round. We will have to keep an eye on that. Then Lawrence Grove, early first round talent, and this is a left tackle with outstanding pass block, which is what you look for in a left tackle. Somebody else worth keeping an eye on there. Right tackle, Denton Stokely out of Texas A&M, decent looking player, but that run block is not looking good for him. He is a mid-round projection. Jason Westbrook's mid-round projection, cornerback with great press, great zone coverage, and decent man coverage, only at 5'10" though. And then Jordan Swan, 6'3" with good hit power, good zone coverage, decent pursuit, a prototype free safety, projected to go in the mid-first round there as well. Somebody else that we're going to have to keep an eye on. Let's go ahead and check out the Eagles lineup again. Currently sitting at 3-0. Carson Wentz is getting it done, but he has Zach Ritchie out of Nebraska right on his heels. So many quarterbacks out of Nebraska and Wisconsin, I don't know. But a great rookie quarterback. We haven't seen a whole lot of them because Carson Wentz is getting the job done in his second year. Hillman is going to be the quarterback. Wendell Smallwood backing him up. Daryl Young at fullback, Jordan Matthews at wide receiver, Dorial Green Beckham, Aguilar, Huff, and Bell round out the crew there. At tight end, Ertz and Selleck. So the brother to Garrett Selleck there as well. Offensive line, a bit of hit and miss here with the Eagles. They've got some good players in place, but they also have some weaknesses there as well. Left end, Brandon Graham, a huge playmaker on this defense. Connor Barwin, another guy that makes plays. And then Fletcher Cox in the middle with Benny Logan backing him up. I mean, just so many good players here. Nigel Bradham at middle linebacker, Tolick. They had Hicks there as well. And then, of course, at right outside linebacker, Kendricks, the young player with a lot of speed. But the secondary leaves a lot to be desired. The corner game is really not looking good for the Eagles, and the 49ers are going to have to find a way to take advantage of that. They have a few rookies there in place as well, but Carroll being the best overall coverage guy. McLeod is going to be a free safety, and then Malcolm Jenkins at strong safety. So Jenkins really the playmaker of the secondary, but without good cornerbacks, the 49ers are going to have to find a way to exploit that and get some plays on the field through the air, maybe to Dimitri Todman. We also have Willie Snead as well. Darren Sproles is out with a broken wrist for 5 weeks. That is certainly a big blow to the Eagles. But that is going to be it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed. Hit that like button if you did. And I'll see you guys in week 4 as we take on the Eagles. Later.